Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday, and welcome to this educational class where today I want to talk to you about a strategy that I've actually been trading for nearly 5 decades. This is something I learned on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange, and we're going to do something a little bit different this time. If you're new to my presentations, you'll know that I usually spend a little bit of time of warming up to the method I'm going to be teaching and giving you a little bit of background about it. Today, I'm going to just jump right into it, okay? This is Specialist Trading's early gift to you. We're going to be talking about probably one of the most consistent methods we have at Specialist Trading, and that is strategy number 4. Okay. Now, before we begin, as always, we're required to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to share with you a lot of performance results using this method, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. All right, so let's begin. Once again, my name is Stephen Primo. In case you've come here not knowing where you are, I'm the president and founder of Specialist Trading. Been trading now for going on 48 years. And I want to share with you one of the methods that I first learned roughly about 5 decades ago on the floor of the exchange, and I continue to use to this day. Now, what I'm going to start out with is by sharing with you 2 of the rules of this particular method. They're extremely simple, and if you don't want to use this method and become a member of mine in the course, you can actually apply these same rules to whatever method or technique you're trading right now, and I truly believe they will increase your odds for success. So let's start out with it. Rule number 1, buy or sell signals can only be entered either above if it's a buy signal or below the 50-period moving average if it's a sell signal. So why are we doing this? What do we care about the 50-period moving average and why? Because I've learned over the years, and what my mentors taught me, is that if price is above the 50-period moving average, the market is telling you it wants to go higher. So the odds are against you if you're going short above the 50-period moving average. And the odds are against you that you'll make a nice win to the upside if you're buying below the 50-period moving average. Remember, we're trying to put the odds in your favor. Now, this does not mean that every once in a while you'll get a fantastic sell short signal above the 50-period moving average or amazing buy signal below. Sure, that will happen every once in a while. But remember, if you do this continually over and over again, you will most likely give it back because the odds are the majority of these signals won't be successful, and you'll eventually give back what you earned on that big winner. So here's what we want to do. We want to see setups like this. We want to see price above the 50-period moving average because the market is telling us it wants to go higher. And conversely, if the market is below the 50-period moving average, regardless of what time frame, regardless of what market you're trading, doesn't matter what it is. Could be currency pairs, could be futures, could be monthly charts of stocks. Makes no difference. You should be in sync with whatever the market wants to do. So that's rule number 1. If you don't believe me how powerful this rule is, go back and look at your last 10 or 20 trades. I can almost guarantee you that the reason why you lost was because you were buying below the 50 and selling, and by selling, I mean going short above the 50. Now, obviously, if price is above the 50 and you have a nice profit, sure, you can get out whenever you'd like. We're talking about betting for the market to go down. Now, this brings us to rule number 2 in strategy number 4. Buy or sell signal bars must close in either the top if they're a buy signal or the bottom 25% if they're a sell signal of their range. So what does that mean? Well, if you take any bar, it doesn't matter what size of bar it is, doesn't matter what market, what time frame. If you measure it from the extreme high to the extreme low, okay? Now, if you close in that top quarter, that's the top 25%. If you close in that bottom quarter, that's the bottom 25%. Let me show you how powerful this is, okay? Now, we are above the 50-period moving average, so that means the overall market wants to go higher. And look at these 2 bars that close in the top 25%. Once they traded above, they continue to go higher. And sure, we fell out of bed right here. This is where most students will say, well, Steve, I thought you're not supposed to sell. Look, you could have made a lot of quick money going short there. Well, that's true, but look what happened. The very next bar closed in the top 25%, and look what happened after that. See, wouldn't it have been more advantageous to just simply go in sync with the overall trend and the short-term trend, as opposed to trying to make quick money off this one bar that went down? Now, the same concept works to the downside. We are below the 50-period moving average, meaning the overall trend is down. And now we're looking for bars that close in the bottom 25%, as we are right here. So what is this telling us? Well, it's telling us that the short term and the overall trend are in sync. So there's no need to look at two different time frames. I don't know why a lot of people focus on that. It's been my experience only, that that really is more of a myth than actually some technique that you should rely on. All you need to do is look at this and say, well, listen, if the short and the overall trend are in sync, looking at the 50-period moving average and where a price bar closes, that's all I need to do. I don't need to overcomplicate things. So we have the overall trend going lower, and we have the short-term trend closing in the bottom 25%. And look what happened. You see how the market gives you all the information you need to know? There's no reason you need to follow news with every detail, or no reason actually you need to go to a chat room or listen to some guy on TV or even in a webinar. What we're trying to do as educators is give you this information and then let you run with it. It's yours. There's no reason to come back and come to a chat room and talk with me every day. We want you to be in charge of your trading. That's what a good mentor does. He provides you with the information. He works with you so that you fully understand it, and then you go on your own way. You make your own trading decisions. Now, the two rules you just saw make up the cornerstone, the first two rules of strategy number 4. Okay. Now, the good news is that everything you just saw is automatically incorporated. It's already auto-defined on our platform, the PTS Primo Charting Platform, that auto-generates these strategy number 4 signals. So you can plot the 50-period moving average, or you can look for bars that close in the top, bottom, or 25%, but it's already pre-formatted for you. Let me show you what I mean here. Let's look at some recent strategy number 4 examples. Okay, so we don't need the 50-period moving average. We don't need to look at top, bottom 25% bars. Let me show you the process of how simple it is. Now, someone who has never taken my courses before would say, well, I'm looking at this and it looks like we're in a range market. So I'm going to avoid this until we have a breakout to the upside, okay? Because I kind of like this stock a little bit. This is CIEN, and I like it a little bit. So I'll wait till we break out or close above that line, and then I'll go long, okay? This is the way most traders trade. And then this happens, right? It not only goes above that line, but it gaps open. And now it's way too high for you to buy. In fact, you were even thinking if you had bought it, you were going to sell it around these levels. So you say, I can't buy it now. It's too high. It gapped up. So I'll wait for it to come down to that breakout area, and then I'll buy it when it pulls back. Okay, so look what happens the next day. It doesn't pull back. It, in fact, goes up even higher. Well, how could strategy 4 have helped us? Remember, we want to see that bars are above the 50 and that they close in the top 25%. Now, we teach you all of the rules, all of the 4 rules all together in the course. But one of the best ways to check your work to see if you can identify it on your own is with our platform, the educational platform I developed with Pro Trader Strategies. Because it's as simple as just clicking on strategy number 4 in the green strategy icon list there. And in the drop-down menu, click on Signal Error. So you can check your work to see if you properly identified a signal. And guess what? There was a signal right here a day before it gapped up. So you could have purchased that night and taken advantage of an 18-point gain in just 2 days. Okay? So you see how just easy it is to trade when you don't have to rely on an outside source like news, like obviously some announcement came out that caused this to gap up. Wasn't it funny how we knew a day in advance, and how strategy number 4 is not based on any news events. It's not based on anything fundamental. It's based on a pattern that repeats itself over and over again. And we teach you how to identify that pattern. Let's look at another example, this one in FANG, F-A-N-G. All right, it's steadily moving up higher, but you think you see a signal. So you want to check your work to see if you're properly identifying it. Click on strategy 4, click on signal arrow. And yes, you're right. There is a sell signal here. You properly identified a sell signal. Now, if you want to take the trade, it's up to you. Remember, this is not some system or method where everyone has to take the signal in order to get the right statistics. No, remember, our job is to provide you with this information. Your job is to decide if you want to trade it or not us. But let's say you did decide to take that trade. Well, 18 points to the downside coming into last week, okay? Now, we know a lot of our traders and students don't like to go short. They feel uncomfortable. Well, that's okay. You can use this as an exiting tool as well. Let's say you were long FANG and you saw a sell signal. Well, you could have exited your position and saved yourself an 18-point loss coming into last week. Let's look at ANSS. Now, someone once again would look at this and say, Steve, this is an obvious downtrend, right? We're making lower highs and lower lows. But is it really? Because remember, the actual, not the course, but the actual strategy on our platform takes into account whether we're above the 50, whether we close in the top or bottom 25%. And if you would have clicked it on and seen what the platform was telling you, actually, we weren't in a downtrend at all. That's a buy signal. Remember, we can only go long if we're above the 50-period moving average. So we don't care about whether someone in his chat room says this is going lower. The market itself, the very source of what you're trading, is saying, I want to go higher. Could have purchased that. And look what happened after that. You have a nice gain coming into the first week of December this month. Now, with so many times you'll see that you'll have a nice profit and then this will happen. Well, later on in the presentation, I'm going to share with you a technique to show you how you could have actually exited right here at or near the very top, and you could have taken advantage of a 26-point gain in just a couple of weeks. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that at the end of the presentation. Let's take a look at this chart in CDW. Looks like nothing's really happening, right? Just kind of going sideways. But then all of a sudden, some news happens, something comes out, and all of a sudden it just falls out of bed. You say to yourself, well, I can't buy this now, okay? It's really falling out of bed. But then again, I can't short it because it's gone down too quickly. But let's see what the market is telling us. Click on Strategy 4. And there's actually a sell signal. Even with this large down day, a sell signal was generated. And for the first couple of days, the market went lower. But then look what happened, okay? Now, if you had one of our standard stop placements intact, in other words, we teach you where to place your stop in the course. I can't really divulge it right now because it's part of the course. But if you use just one of our very basic stop placements, you'd be still in this trade. So even though you may say to yourself, gosh, why did I go short? Now I'm losing money. Well, look what happened. As you held on, you could have potentially captured 20 points coming into last month. Here's another example in CDNS. At the very bottom of this downward move, a buy signal was generated. The stock went up 38 points coming into the first week of this month, just last week. Here's an example in LIN, okay, LIN. Now, a sell signal was generated, okay? Once again, if you're not the type of trader that likes to buy puts or likes to go short, you could have just said, well, I'm going to avoid this because I don't like to sell. Or if you were long, you could have said, well, I'm going to exit on this because look what happened. It quickly fell 20 points. Now, if you did go short, we have ways to exit with a nice profit. But let's say you stayed in and you saw this happen. You say, wow, okay, now I'm giving back a lot of my profit. Well, that's okay because strategy 4 is still in play. And as you see here, another sell signal was generated. So had you taken a profit, you could have gotten back in and taken advantage of a 25-point move to the downside. Here's an example in Marvel. This just happened about a month ago. A buy signal was generated right near the lows here. The stock went up a quick 30 points. Now, once again, isn't it funny how it gapped up on this day? This was just last week or so. Obviously, off some news or some event. We knew a full couple of weeks in advance to buy this. Remember, strategy 4 is not based on anything fundamental. It's based purely on market behavior. In my opinion, you will have a higher level of consistency if you follow what the market is telling you as opposed to outside sources like fundamental news, like earnings, like some guy on TV telling you what he thinks of the market, even like some guy in a chat room or on a webinar telling you what he thinks the market's going to do. That's why at Specialist Trading, you'll never hear us tell you what the market's going to do because we advise our students to find out for themselves. Use our tools and go to the market and find out what the market is telling you. Now, let's say you took a quick 30-point gain and you said to yourself, well, thank you. That was a nice trade. And then you realize that it's gone lower and you say, God, that's great. Glad I got out. But remember, you have to always get back on your horse because another signal was generated just this past week where you could have potentially captured a quick 10 points. So there are always signals being generated. Now, we can go to a different time frame. Here's a weekly chart in BIIB. Let's say you were long this stock, and now you're looking at this in your portfolio saying, gosh, why did I hold on to this? I lost so much money holding on to this for the past year. Well, once again, how could we have taken advantage using strategy 4? All we have to do is apply strategy 4, and we could use these as sell signals. Now, had we gotten out, we would have saved ourselves a 105-point loss. But if we were more aggressive, we actually could have gotten short or purchased the puts, and in the past year had a probabilical 105-point gain. How about this one? Here's a weekly chart of Costco. Now, how could we have taken advantage of this to the upside? So many traders love to look at charts like this and complain and say, gosh, I missed this. How come I didn't know about this? Well, Strategy 4 gave you plenty of time to buy this, going all the way back to 2023, where the first buy signal was generated, and you could have potentially held on to a nearly 500-point gain coming into this month. So it makes no difference what market or what time frame. In fact, we're looking at a 4-hour chart of the Australian dollar. This just happened on the 9th last week. As we can see, a sell signal was generated in the Australian dollar, 115 pips in the next day. That's close to $1,200 per unit if you had gone short the Australian dollar. Or if you wanted to look at a daily chart, well, here's a daily chart of the Canadian dollar, okay? A buy signal was generated a little over a month ago off that bar, according to the pattern and all the rules and requirements, and it went up a quick 165 pips. Now, you could have taken your profit if you wanted to, or stayed in because another signal was generated just about another week later, and you could have taken advantage of another 270 pip gain, okay? So it makes no difference what market or what time frame, because Strategy 4 is based on a pattern. It doesn't know if this pattern is being generated in the Canadian dollar. It doesn't know if it's being generated in crypto. It doesn't know if it's being generated in Google. It has no idea. It just searches for this pattern. And once again, this is not a black box system. We teach you how to identify this pattern on your own. Okay, so let's go through the basic process. Here's a chart of Regeneron, REGN. Most traders looking at this would say, well, Steve, I follow that guy in that trading room, and I have that $10,000 course that has all to do with support and resistance and following all where the big money is. And they're saying there's major support here. So I've got to buy this, right? This is why most traders fail. It's been estimated upwards of 85% because you're following inconsistent things. Rather than following the market itself, the chart in front of you, the source of what you're trading, you're following some guy in a room, some guy on TV, some economic report, some earnings report. Just listen to what the chart is telling you. Now, obviously, we are clicking on Strategy 4, getting a signal. And since we have a sell signal, obviously, we are below the 50-period moving average. And as you can tell, we closed in the bottom 25%. The remaining two rules of the strategy were met. So this is a sell signal. Why would you ever think that just because some major bank that has tons of money is buying there, why that would hold? The market is more powerful than any institutional bank. So how good did that support hold? You could have saved yourself a 270-point loss coming into this month. Looking at Netflix, here's a monthly chart, entirely different chart, entirely different time frame. Once again, looks like it's going higher than lower. Hard to get an idea going back to 2023 on this on a monthly time frame, but is it? Because once we apply Strategy 4, click on signal arrow, we see that it wasn't that hard to really figure it out. Obviously, if there's a buy signal, it must be above the 50, and we close in the top 25%. The remaining rules were met, so this is a valid buy signal on a monthly time frame. So you could use this for your long-term investments going into 2025. And look what happened. Coming into this month, just about a little over a year later, you could have potentially captured 530 points. This is how simple it is to be a consistent trader once you know how to apply Strategy 4. Now you see why I continue to trade with this each and every day. Okay, so let's review what we taught you today. Strategy number 4, highlights. It's a pattern recognition strategy. It's based on a pattern, like I said, that repeats itself over and over again in virtually any market and any time frame. And we teach you how to identify these patterns in any market or time frame. Now, it's designed for traders looking to catch momentum. And I can say firsthand that the secret to this is that Strategy 4 oftentimes will generate buy and sell signals before momentum has actually kicked in. I mean, think of the examples I shared with you. A lot of those charts where the market was going sideways to even lower, and then a buy signal was generated. Or else it was going higher to sideways, and then a sell signal was generated. Much more in advance of a quick momentum obvious move. All right. Now, it only uses one indicator. And guess what? You already know what that is. It's the 50-period moving average. That's what the first rule was, okay? You also have the second rule of looking for bottom and top 25% closing bars. Now, the third and fourth rule are what we teach you in the course, but you already have the first half of strategy number 4. That's how basic it can be. So ask yourself, do you think my most consistent strategy, strategy 4, can help your trading beginning in 2025? I know a lot of you are struggling. That's okay. Trust me, my first 2 years when I first started trading, even though I was on the trading floor, even though I had high-speed computer that they didn't have personal computers then. You had to work in an office or a trading room to have a computer. And even though I had access to that and information and had a large back end of money behind me, I struggled tremendously. In fact, I didn't know how much longer I was going to be on the floor. I was lucky enough to have 2 mentors on the floor that taught me the same things that I teach my students around the world in over 115 countries in every state in the United States. And one of the first strategies they taught me was strategy number 4. It made such an impact on my trading. It turned me from a fairly consistent trader and a losing trader to being a very consistent trader that I continue to use it to this day. So ask yourself, do you think that this strategy, strategy 4, can help your trading beginning in 2025? We only have a couple of more weeks left. Well, I'm sure most of you would answer yes. So because of that, we have a great, great special attendee discount for you today. We're going to offer you all the full rules, the full strategy number 4 course. You're going to get instant access, detailed instruction. And remember, we didn't talk about exact entries, exits, and stop placements. We're going to go into full detail of all the different variables to choose from, where you can decide where you want to enter, where you want to exit, and where you want to place your stop. Okay, so you're going to get the complete course rules. Remember, a lot of strategies or webinars you may have gone to that talk about strategies and methods, you'll find that they look great, but only in a certain market or a certain time frame. The beauty of strategy 4 is that you can apply it to any market and any time frame. So we're going to kick it up a notch. We're also going to throw in 6 months of the PTS Primo charts absolutely free. Because even though we'll teach you in the course what to look for, how to identify a setup, it helps so much with the platform if you can just check your work by clicking on strategy 4, clicking on signal arrows, and seeing if you identified a valid setup. You'll learn that much quicker. That's why we developed it, and I developed with Pro Trader Strategies. Now, you're going to get 6 months of the platform absolutely free. But let me share with you some of the other things that are included with that, because not only are you going to get strategy number 4, you're going to get a host of other tips, tools, and techniques that I've accumulated in my nearly 50 years that you won't find anywhere else. These are things that I've taken from my days on the floor. You won't find them on the major platforms. I'm not going to say their names, but you know what they are, because these are things that, once again, I was using some 50 years ago and 5 decades ago, and that you'll only find on the PTS Primo Charting Platform. Things like our enhanced buy-sell line feature, 4 separate but distinct ways to find out what the overall trend is. Okay, you'll also get a signal scanner. You can scan on a nightly basis or even an intraday basis for all the strategy 4 signals. So if you come home from a night from work and you want to scan, it'll take you literally minutes just to find out what all of the next setups are for the next day. A strength of trend tool, a tool I developed with Pro Trader Strategies that has an uncanny ability to find out if a trend is running out of steam or it has still a lot more gas left in the tank, okay? Over 90 of the most prominent technical indicators, along with personalized tech support. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of things that you'll receive on the platform. But here, let me toot my horn a little bit. This is one of the best things on the platform that you won't find anywhere else. This is our auto-generated exit levels, okay? Now, we teach you upwards of 6 or 7 different ways to exit strategy number 4 in the course. Because remember, we're providing you with the information. It's up to you to decide how you want to trade it. Do you want to get in and out quickly? Would you like to stay in like a swing trader, or would you like to stay in for as long as possible? Well, this is just one of our most popular exiting tools, and it's one click away on the platform. So let me share with you what it looks like. Remember, we looked at that older chart in ANSS where you said you could have exited right here at or near the very high of this bar. And remember how the stock fell out of bed after that? Well, here's how you would have taken advantage of that. Okay, before it fell out of bed and you gave away all your profits. Once again, you would just simply, on our platform, this is where you need the platform to do this, click on strategy 4. And in the drop-down menu where you would want to click the signal arrows, now we're going to go down to here, range extensions, okay? And they will automatically appear on the platform. You'll have anywhere from 3 to 4 different levels for you to exit. Now, how does this work? Well, remember, you are in charge of your trading, not us. This is not a black box system. So if you're the type of trader that likes to get in and out quickly, you would place a limit, most likely here or here, to get out of the trade because you want to go on to the next one. You don't like to keep your money tied up, and you would be basically making 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 risk-reward ratio. That's not bad, all right? Now, if you're the type of trader who likes to swing trade, likes to stay in a little bit longer, well, then you would use level 2 or level 3, okay? And just place your limit order in there to exit the position. And lastly, if you were the type of trader that wanted to get the most bang for your buck, you would choose the fourth and final level, which is level, in this case, level number 4 to exit, which we did, and you could have exited right here at the very top. Now, the one thing we always caution our members is that they should always exit their position entirely on either the 3rd or the 4th level, because usually that's where we see the trend changes. Now, there are a number of ways in which to apply this. Let's say you had 200 shares that you were long. Well, you could have sold 100 shares here and another 100 shares here, or 100 shares here and another 100 here, or vice versa. Or what you could have done, a lot of our students like to do is, let's say they bought on the close. Once we would have gotten up to the 1st level, they'd move their stop to unchanged where they bought right on the close. And once it got up to the next level, they'd move it here and so forth. They just keep adding it until they get stopped out or exit at the 4th and final level. So there's lots of ways to do this. And once again, we teach you all of this in the course. Let's look at another example, because this can work to the downside as well. Here's an example in CDNS where we had 2 sell signals, okay? On our platform, prior to even going into the trade, it doesn't matter if you actually sold it or if you bought the puts, you could still find out where most likely you'd want to see this happen, and you just click on Strategy 4, Range Extension Exits, and here we have only 3 levels. So had you not even pulled the trigger and gone short or bought the puts, you could have said, well, is this worth the trade? And you may have said, yes, I think it is. I think it'll come here or here or here. So if you're the type of trader that wanted to get in and out quickly, you would cover right here. A swing trader would cover here, and a more advanced trader wanting to hold overnight longer would place a limit right here. So let's see how the trade unfolded. This is where we're going to get out. Let's say we placed our limit right here. Well, in a couple of weeks, we actually hit all these levels, and we hit the 3rd and final level. So we had a quick 27-point gain to the downside. And look what happened after that. To see how the trend will change. So these are really valuable tools that you won't find anywhere else. Let's take another one. This one's in Adobe. Now, this just happened about a week or so ago. A buy signal was generated using strategy number 4. Let's say you were in this trade, or you were about to go long, and you say to yourself, okay, let me find out where I want to get out here. Click on the Strategy 4 tab. In the drop-down menu, click on Range Extensions. And you see in this case, you have 4 separate levels to choose from. Now, if you had multiple shares, I know this is expensive stock. You could have gotten out of a little bit of each one. Maybe 50 shares here, 50 shares here, and so on. And the main thing is we want to stress, especially to beginners, to exit the position entirely if you apply the 4th and final level. So let's say we decided to get out at the 4th and final level. So we would have placed a limit right here. And look what happened. In a couple of weeks, we got there and made 45 points. This was just last week on the 9th or 10th, I believe. That's a nice little trade. In a couple of weeks, you made 45 points. Maybe you bought the calls. Maybe you had a spread strategy with an upward bias, or maybe you were actually long the stock. But 45 points just using strategy number 4 based on a pattern that repeats itself over and over again, not based on any use, not based on anything fundamental, no support and resistance, no overbought, oversold, based on a pattern. That's all we're looking for, this pattern, okay? Now, if you would have exited at the 4th and final level, that would have been very wise, because once again, look what happened after that. Went sideways for 2 days, then fell out of bed. This is what happens with so many traders. They hang on for too long, maybe a few of you out there today in the audience, and all of a sudden it gaps down and you say, wow, I had a nice profit. It turned into a large loss now. Now I have to hope and pray for it to come back. So you won't find the range extensions on any other platform. This is a great way to help you increase your odds for consistency. Remember, the PTS Primo Charting Platform comes with this great offer. You're going to get 6 months absolutely free. So let's break it down. You're going to get strategy number 4. Now, normally this is $6.95 value. This includes the scanner, and you're going to get 6 months free real time of the PTS Primo charts. It's usually close to a $900 value. So here's what we're going to do. Normally it costs you close to $1,600. We don't want to, we know it's the end of the year. You have president's holiday gifts to buy. You have a lot of maybe taxes coming in you got to take care of. So we don't want to in any way charge you that much. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to drop it down to $6.95 only. We're only going to charge you for strategy number 4. You're going to save close to $900. That's a nearly 60% discount. Think of it, only $695, but that will get you back on board next year, okay? Starting 2025, you can start out in the right direction. Invest in yourself. I know you've probably spent, like the way I did some 5 decades ago, tons of money trying to find that holy grail, that system or that technique that would make you millions or at least get you out of the hole, right? And most likely it's put you more in the hole. I know exactly what that's like. I was there. I've been there before. It's extremely frustrating and very depressing, especially at the end of the year, because we all made promises at the beginning of the year where we wanted to finish the end of the year, and most likely none of us get to that point. It's okay. I think strategy number 4, if you invest in yourself, can take your trading to the next level. So take advantage of this deep, deep discount. Strategy number 4, discount. Remember, we're dropping it some 60%. Here's how to take advantage. Contact my sister site, Pro Trader Strategies. I developed the platform with them. They're in charge of all the discounts and pricing. I would highly recommend giving them a call at this number right now. They have trading consultants manning the phones. They would be more than happy either to answer questions or to take your order over the phone. That's 310-598-6677. Now, if you just have questions, don't worry. They're there to work with you. There's absolutely no obligation. They're not going to force you into a sale. They're there to work with you, and they're very flexible, and they would be happy to give you a quote on any other product that we have as well. Now, that link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you to the info page for this offer, and you can sign up online there as well. But it's not a live link, so you have to either copy and paste that, or probably the simpler thing is just to go to the chat box icon. If you look on your Zoom icon list there, click on chat, and there's a live link posted there. So you can simply click that on, and it will take you to the info page, okay? Now, I'm going to leave this information up here. If you have any questions concerning strategy 4, you can ask them right now. Just go to either the chat box or the question and answer icon. Just click either of those on and ask me a question. I promise I'll get to them right away. I see a first question. It says, Steve, I have not been trading for very long. In fact, I'm a newbie. If this doesn't make sense, how do I understand it? Well, don't worry. Each and every one of you will be getting my personal email address. This comes with all of my students. This is not something that goes to an assistant. The emails do not go to a salesperson. They come directly to me. So if you're insecure about submitting a question, don't worry. No one else will see it except me, your mentor. And I will answer any question you have. Or so many times students email me and they just say, hey, Steve, did I identify a signal here correctly? Can you just check my work? And I'll get back to them immediately and say, yeah, you're on the right road, or I'll tell them where they went wrong. But this is a great way to have me work with you and to answer any question you may have. I know a lot of other companies, they'll say, okay, here's a product, you spend your $5,000, now good luck, and they throw you to the wolves, right? No, I'm there with you every step of the way, all right? This is the way I learned. My mentors were there with me, and this is the way I want to be with all of my students around the world, okay? Next question, can this work on futures? Yes, it can. My method of choice for using strategy number 4, or my market of choice, I should say, is the E-mini futures. So I trade them. In fact, right before this presentation, I almost didn't think I was going to start on time because I was in a strategy 4 trade using this on the E-mini futures, and I'm happy to say that it worked out fine. It was my only trade of the day, and I had a profit in it. So yes, it can be applied virtually to any market and any time frame. It makes no difference. So I know a lot of you may have gone to other presentations in the past where someone promised you the world, and then you find out that it only works in one particular market or time frame. No, this can be transferred onto any market, any time frame. So if you trade multiple markets, this is a plus as well. You can trade it in all those different markets. You don't have to buy a different strategy 4 setup for a different market, okay? And we, once again, on our platform, we have data feeds for if you like to trade different markets, like the NASDAQ market, the Dow only, S&P 500. We have also crypto data. We also have currency pair data. We have futures data. Lots of different markets for you to decide from, okay? I would say the best thing, once again, is to call Pro Trader Strategies with any questions. There's absolutely no obligation. Give them a call at 310-598-6677. Now, if there are no further questions, as we go forward, a lot of students always say, well, Steve, how do I get more information from you? One of the best ways is to follow us on Twitter or X. There's our handle right there, abbreviation for specialist trading. Every day I post between 5 or 7 different snapshots of signals our methods have generated, so you can get a lot more information and see how well our methods work. I also post little bits of financial wisdom. So follow us on Twitter or X, however you'd like to call it. Also, this presentation, we're starting to present now on YouTube. We're live streaming on YouTube. So if you like more content going that way, please click subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, click on subscribe and we'll have a lot more videos for you in the future as well, okay? Now, as we close, and no more further questions, as we close, I just want to say thanks for attending once again. I really wish you all the best of luck in trading. And I truly, from my heart, think that strategy number 4 can turn your trading around. If you're struggling, if you're having a difficult time and you're really questioning whether you should be trading or not, come on board with strategy number 4. I was at the exact same spot you were some 48 years ago. And strategy number 4 turned my trading around. I really think it can help you as well, okay? So as we close, thank you so much for attending. I wish you all the best of luck, and I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the Strategy Number 4 course. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.